Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome to Restoring the Brokenness.
Welcome to RTB, everyone.
Okay. Well, today we're doing something different. Last week we had a lot of requests that we do a rewind, and that was on being a Black man in America. And got a pretty good response to that. So we're going to do part 2 today. So we're going to chime in, and then we're going to replay. We're going to replay it. So please like and share our page. But before we start, well, actually, we're going to do the disclaimer. When we do the rewind, the disclaimer is already in there. You can still comment on our post. You can still like and share our page. We're here, we're watching, but we would just like you all to sit back and enjoy once again the rewind of being a Black man in America part 2. Would you like to say something before we start?
Well, my name is Alfred Allen Sr., and this is Colette Allen, and we're glad that you're here, and we hope that you'll enjoy the show. And if you have any comments, you can make your comments.
Okay.
We're glad you're here again. We apologize for starting a little late, but nonetheless, we're here. And that being said, we're going to start the show.
Okay. So once again, back by popular demand, being a Black man matters. Being a Black man,
yes, Black men
in
matter.
America. Let's start. Enjoy. Hi, and welcome to Restoring the Brokenness. I am Colette Allen.
And I am Alfred Allen. Welcome to the show.
We are so excited to be here on today. We 2 weeks ago we talked about what did we talk about? Man, that kind of threw me off.
Black Lives Matter.
Black men matter. And we're this is part 2 because we ran out of time. And this week we plan to, we're going to pace ourselves. We're not going to spend a lot of time on one topic. We need to cover a lot. So We're going to start with the disclaimer, and then we'll bring our guests. They're returning on this week, so we want to continue the topic.
Absolutely. Well, we, the hosts and guests of Restoring the Brokenness group, do not claim to be counselors, therapists, psychologists, or psychiatrists. The information provided are based on our own experiences and only intended to inspire, encourage, and uplift you. We advise you to seek personal help when dealing with situations and circumstances beyond your control. So with that, if you're just new viewers and you're viewing our show, welcome to the RTB, Restoring the Brokenness. Welcome.
Okay, please like and share our page. Also, if you would like to be a part of, you're not going to come on visually, but we would like to hear from you. You can always call in at 262-509-0120.
Absolutely.
So we are so excited to be here again, as I indicated before. And we're talking about Black Men Matter Part 2. The discussion continues. And we're bringing back to our show our Tim Ferguson. He is the CEO of Men of Valor. He's also the CEO of Virtue Unlimited and back on track. So welcome back to the show, Timothy.
Hello, Tim. Mr. Ferguson.
Hi, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Definitely glad to be back with you guys, and just looking at y'all, you look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I'm really proud of y'all and what you're doing going forth.
And we're excited. Thank you very much, Tim. And we're excited about what you're doing in the community as well. It was so much that you were doing, I couldn't put it on one slide.
Thank God. Thank God.
So welcome to the show.
Welcome, brother.
Next, we have our Jesse Morris Jr., Information Technology, Desktop Support, all the way from Illinois. Welcome back to the show, Jesse.
Welcome, sir. Glad to have you here again.
Hey, cousin, how you doing?
All right. How are you?
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Great.
Wonderful.
Okay, we're gonna keep it moving. We also have, what does it say there? We also have our James Buford, founder and pastor of Reveal Community Church. He's a producer, musician, technician at RTB. He's on the air personality at WGLB. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show,
Bishop James.
Glad to be back, y'all.
Glad to have you here.
Glad to have you here. We really don't know, cause we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe you can tell us if our other two guests have arrived. We don't know that, but I'm sure you'll let us know.
Not as of yet.
Okay. So we were talking 2 weeks ago about Black Men Matter, and we ran out of time. And so this week we wanted to really kind of chime in, because since then we have lost so many more Black men to police shootings, and just all kind of stuff has been going on.
Yes, and it's so ironic that we were talking about George Floyd and the decision in the court hearing and different circumstances surrounding it, and even a young lady that was shot. We were even talking about her, young lady that was shot in Ohio. But this week we decided, because there's so many things that runs in conjunction to what's going on in society. There's a movie out that says Two Distant Strangers.
Right.
Two Distant Strangers.
Can we talk about just maybe a little snippet on what happened with the George Floyd? I mean, what was the outcome? What do you guys think about the outcome? With George Floyd. Anybody want to chime in on that? Okay, quiet silence.
Mr. Ferguson, how do you feel about the outcome of the verdict on that?
I'm excited that happened. Honestly, I didn't like I was happy that happened, but I didn't like the way kind of like everybody was in the background waiting. Woo! I didn't like that part. It's like I agree with that, but it's like they it's like the system kind of just all messed up, and I'll try not to offend people when I'm talking, but sometimes I just didn't like I didn't like the way that everybody was like
Celebrate.
Like that should be automatic. We shouldn't have to have that response behind something like you shouldn't like I'm really happy that that happened, but just like it's like I don't know. I'm gonna be like that today a little bit because I'm in my feelings, and I'm gonna share with y'all when the time comes about some stuff. It having to do with this topic, so
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit over the board, across the board.
Okay. What about you, Jesse? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, when I thought about when I heard the verdict, I was, in the back of your head, you kind of wonder if it's really going to be different this time. And you see so often that situation like this where it's on videotape and the officers still get off. It's no matter what the situation, even though billions of people around the world seen it, in the back of your head, you think like there's still an opportunity that this person would get off just because he's a police officer.
Wow.
So I was even though I was glad about the situation, I was thinking to myself like this should be standard. This shouldn't be something like, of course he should be going to jail. I mean, of course he committed the crime. But in today's society, you still have to wait and see, and it's kind of sad to have to go through that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And
why you gotta sigh?
I mean, James, what are your thoughts?
Oh man,
I don't know why she paused.
you see that pause? You noticed it, Brother Al. She was like, "Oh, here we go."
I had to put my seatbelt on this time. I wasn't gonna be caught off guard. I had to really buckle up to this. What are your thoughts about that, James?
Well, I'll keep it short, and I'll just say I don't really know if justice was served.
Okay.
That's short.
Very short. Okay.
I was optimistic about it. I went to sleep. I didn't stay up and hang around the TV like I did with most other verdicts, the Rodney King or the other one with O.J. Simpson. But when I heard the verdict, I wasn't surprised either. And I can understand what Tim said. People celebrating.
Yeah.
I think it's a long time coming for some people, and they just really couldn't contain themselves. But I think we're on the right track. I feel we're on the right track because it's something I've never seen in my lifetime. You can almost count on one hand a cop that did something wrong, then they have to pay for their wrong. So I was hopeful.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So is anyone else in the waiting room, James?
Yeah, AJ is here.
Okay, let's bring him to the show. So we have our very own Alfred Allen Jr. He's a recent graduate. He just recently graduated from high school. He's on his way to college. Very soon he'll be playing football. He's a football player. Welcome to the show, Alfred.
Well, it looks like he might be froze, so I'll take him off right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll welcome him back. Okay, so guys, listen. I hope you guys were able to actually watch that short 32-minute what was that, a film? And it was
it is a short film, an Oscar-winning film with Jovan Vergeny, Joey Javon Burgundy. He's a rapper, better known as, I can't say the word, badass.
Okay.
And Andrew Howard. He's a Welsh theater and television film actor, and Zara Simone. She's an American actress.
Okay. So it is called The Two Distant Strangers. All right. So, I mean, were you guys able to actually watch that or no? Did you get a chance to?
I started it and I watched, I didn't complete it, but it was hard for me to watch. It's hard for me to watch, those kinds of films.
Why is it hard for you to watch it, Tim?
Because I get angry. I
understand.
Yep. And, I was just going to say, I started watching it and all the choking and all that. So, I'm from a different type of, I come from the streets. I was a gang member, grew up in gangs. So I know all about police, been in prison. I did all of that stuff, thank God that he's changed my life. But the thing is, like the police and all, I always was like growing up, I was against the law, I was an outlaw. That's why I ended up getting in trouble so much, because I just didn't believe in the law. But to see all of that, it just kind of sparked something in me, almost anger. I'm very angry. Since I started watching it, I just found myself getting angry. And then another thing, I'm gonna say this too. Another thing that kind of just when I started watching this, I started thinking about how far our Black people are from each other.
Right.
I didn't even know, I didn't even know, just talking to people, it's like some Black people, they just so far from one another and how they see stuff, and it's like we all in a struggle together, but it's almost I started thinking about this, and I don't take too much time with this, but, in the 60s, when I wasn't born till 70, but when I look back at some of the marches and some of the, things that they did back then, and then I looked at my grandmother and them coming up and all of that, it just seems like we were together more as a people, and now that people have gotten a few things up under their belt, it's nothing wrong with living a nice life. Okay. I love that, wanting to do better for yourself and better your children. That's one of the reasons why I moved to Milwaukee, just to get away from all of that. Mm-hmm. But it's a difference in now I'm here and you here, and then now we can't see each other.
Okay.
It's kind of, it's kind of,
wow.
Yeah,
you're saying that we're not together like in the 60s. It was a movement and everybody was together. Now you see where everybody have their own differences on the way that they view things. Is that what you're saying?
I am, and it's amazing when I talk to people, about different, I can talk to any, don't matter, pastors, not a pastor, people on the street. I talk to them all the same, right? Even when I get the information from them, it's like just when I'm talking to people, it's just difficult, because okay, I was in Florida last week talking to some younger white men. They have no clue on what's going on, in some of our communities. The Black, they're good people. They talk with me, they like me, all of that, but they just don't have no clue. And in some cases, I feel like some Black people are the same way. They don't have no clue of what's really, really going on. And thank God for these kinds of shows that help people who don't, go in the hood or whatever, don't know much about the hood, that they can learn from that kind of thing. I think that's good,
Well, thank you, Tim, for sharing that.
I remember the 60s, you can walk down the street and you see a brother that put their hand up. They put their hand out like that, give you that fist sign as you're walking down the street, and you just throw it back to them like that. I know what you mean, Brother Tim. There's a lot more togetherness back then, but now you have to watch yourself a lot more careful.
All right, we have Mario. Welcome to the show, Mario. Mario is just in case you guys didn't watch the show the first 2 weeks ago, he's coming back. Mario is a pastor of Victory Temple, All Walks of Life, and the CEO of Mario Dickens Creation. He's so much more, but I didn't have enough room on the slide to list all the stuff.
And the creator of this
and of
backdrop.
course, he is our creator of Restoring the Brokenness. Welcome back to the show, Mario.
Brother.
Hi, how are you all?
I'm fine.
Good.
Good.
All right. Well, Tim, thank you for sharing that. You made a very wow. That's what are your thoughts on that, Jesse? About what Tim was saying about seems like Black people aren't the same as they were back in the 60s, where it was a whole movement, and we all worked together. We can't hear you.
I'm muting myself because I don't want to make any background noise coming through. We're the products of the people and the struggle of the people of the 60s and the 70s. So even though I wasn't living back then at the time, I'm aware of their struggle and some of the liberties and some of the benefits of what we're living nowadays is because of their struggle. Mm-hmm. So I think that the times is a little bit different. The methods might have changed a little bit. Our message is a little bit different. Even though we're striving for a lot of the same equality, there's a lot of things that's already been done. So I think that's the reason why I think there's a lot of people that feel like that there's a disconnect, that we're not united, because there's really no central goal like there was in the 60s. We were just looking for equality and basically, to vote and things like that. So when there's multiple problems that the Black community is looking into, there's so many different things, different entities, or different directions that we have to go in just to try to figure out how we can get the things that we need. So I don't think there's a consensus of what we need in the Black community right now, because I think we're still trying to figure out what we actually want in the Black community.
Wow. Okay. Mario, what do you think about that? Do you agree with Jesse when he said we don't really have a consensus of what you say need?
Right. Because there's certain Black struggles that's in the hood of Chicago that Black people in the suburbs probably won't even experience and won't even know about or even want to get behind. So
okay. All right. Mario, what are your thoughts on that? Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I think that thank you guys for having us on today. I think that in different areas, being Black, I'm trying to see what's the best way to say this. I've lived in different places. I've lived in Sussex or Wisconsin, where my son was the only Black kid in his class. And I lived in the inner city of Milwaukee, where my son did not see anybody but people that looked like him. And when I moved to Vegas, then it was diverse. And the one thing that remained constant is because of the color of his skin. And this is my son that is Black and Mexican. Because of the color of his skin, and he's getting it double. He's found himself in a position where he's always the undercard, or he's always the person that's got to work harder, or if he doesn't have to work harder to stand out in his own where he's amongst his own people, he's got to work harder to excel, to get to another level when he's let's say like in the Sussex, where he's by himself and he's the only one. So he immediately stands out. And so if he does something wrong, he's going to stand out way more than if one of their children do something wrong. So determining what the Black community needs, the Black community just does not need to be looked at differently wherever it goes. Wherever I go, I'm still Black. And so long as I'm still Black, there's going to be some kind of divide. As long as I'm still Black, there's going to be some kind of hatred for me, or some kind of race issue, or some kind of credit issue or approval issue, because underwriters in different areas may approve their people but won't approve me, because there's, and so that's what I'm saying. It's hard to say, well, what do black people need? I can't just answer that question, what's going to work here or what's going to work there. The only thing that works for them is if we're not black anymore. If we're not here, that's what it seems to be. And quite frankly, I said, I don't know if I should have watched the video right before I got on the show because I'm angry.
You sound like Tim.
Yeah, 30 minutes. I watched this thing right before I got on. I said, why would they ask me to watch this? I said, oh my God. This is crazy. And
oh my goodness. Wow.
The end.
Wow. And it does, because it's really like you can't. Right. So it's pretty much, James. So did you want to add anything to what Mario was saying?
I just want to say a couple things. One, I want to piggyback off of what Jesse said. He had talked about that the black people don't have a struggle or something to that effect. I might have misquoted him, but and I think that's partly right. We don't have, I think we lost, I shouldn't say we don't have a struggle. We lost focus of our struggle. We used to stand for, and it kind of was what Dr. Mario said, we used to stand for, and our struggle was equality. If we talk about even during slavery, and then after slavery, right? The civil rights movements was really about equality. It was not about anything else. It was not about, we don't want special treatment. We just want to be treated as human beings, like who we are, which goes into, I think it's the same struggle that we struggle with today. However, we've lost focus of that struggle, and it becomes more of a lot of other things. It's what crowds are, it goes back to what Tim said, where we are on separate ends of the spectrum, right? Because we have, truth be told, we have black people that stayed in the inner city, and when they got money and they got jobs, what they moved out to the suburbs. Why? Because they didn't want to be around the crime and the degradation that was in our communities. And to move back, it's like, no, we're not moving back. But then you got people that have made it, have wealth and have money, but yet still have not come back to help to change the. And I shouldn't say, I don't know what people done. It seems, let's put it like that. It seems that they don't come back to help the community. And I think that becomes then where we have the divide, because now it's like, well, they should help themselves. They should want to help themselves. And then it's like, well, no, you should give back to them so they can't help themselves. It becomes then an argument about, because we have two black people, we have a divide in the black community where you have some that have made it out. You have some that's still in the struggle. And I'm not saying that we don't struggle, because like Dr. Mario said, everywhere you go, the same equation is that we are absolutely 100% people of color everywhere we go. And the same thing that we have, the common denominator that we also have, is that we are also, we have to always work hard, man. I don't care. Since we have been freed as slaves, we always have to work harder than the next man. We always have to put up the best grades. We always have to perform better to get the promotion. We have to go through things. We always had those. So those are the two common denominators that we have. And I think we lost focus of our ability to fight for justice and equality. Right? We just want to be treated fair at the end of the day. But all these other things became in the mix, and that separates us from social classes, different things, educational classes, and we look down upon each other because you're not here and I'm here. You're not a part of this social status that I'm part of, and so it divides our community even more when we had a common goal, we had a common enemy.
Okay. On the film. Do you remember him sitting at the table talking to this young lady that he had met? He said, I tried 99 times. What do you guys, what, I already know there's some anger in the room.
I mean, what's the most in the movie, in the film, what's the most thing that stands out.
The fact that he said, I tried 99 times to get home. Right. Mario holding his hand up. Okay, Mario. What are your thoughts?
Well, the fact of the matter is the 99th time he took him home, and then he revealed to him that I always knew that this been happening every day. He proved that he enjoyed killing him. Mm-hmm. He enjoyed it. He enjoyed hearing his point of view. See, they'll suck up the information. They'll receive everything good out of it. He received a point of view, and all he did is educate himself on how to better attack. And then he killed him.
Whoa. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So,
like a snake.
Yeah. I mean, there's someone watching this right now gaining the black person's point of view. And then they're going to think they understand, and they're going to treat us accordingly.
Wow. And have you all seen that? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, I said that's what stood out to me.
Wow.
That he understood, that he remembered, that he knew 99 times. He acted like he didn't know. And he kept on doing the same thing over and over again. And the underlying tone, and I'm sure Buford will understand, is that this is a demonic attack.
Mm.
That's what that is.
Wow.
That's a big attack.
Wow. I see Jesse, you agreeing with that.
Yeah. As far as the film, one of the things that really stuck out was the fact that at the end, when they had the credit rolling, and it was talking about all the people that got killed, and they kind of listed how they died, it kind of pointed directly back to the film of how that person kept dying to seemingly, innocent situations, from like just being in home or trying to walk home, like get on the bus, or anything happened, and then he just ended up dying. But like what the pastor was saying, that I believe it is a spiritual thing, and whenever we look at how we are treated almost across the world as Black people, it's gotta be something spiritual out there. Why are we hated almost on every continent? It doesn't make sense. So I believe that there's gotta be some underlying forces that are if we are like God's chosen people and the enemy is against us, or what it is, I don't know. But I really believe that there's some spiritual element to it as well. So I'm totally agree with him.
Right. Okay, Tim.
My fault. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Mario. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you look at Hitler and his what he did at Auschwitz and what he did with the extermination camps and things of a superior race, and you understand the demonic energy. Well, that same energy can exist now, evolve, but it comes from the same source. There's many operations, but this here is nothing but something that has been cloaked. And he asked him, he said, no, tell me, why did you really become a cop? I don't want to hear any of that. Y'all know what he said, but he said, why did you really become a cop? He said, look, I've been bullied. I wanted to basically get back at people. I wanted to be the bully now. I wanted to be that. And so these things exist.
Wow.
These energies, they exist in the demonic realm. So we understand that, anything that deals with intimidation, manipulation, domination, that's not of God. And so if they don't change their policing policies, it's not just policy here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't fight this with a whole bunch of peaceful protests and all that. These kinds come only out by, and so it takes a unified attack, reaction from us that is peaceful, but it's our ammunition has to be proper to deal with this, or else we'll keep sitting at tables constantly talking about it. 100 times did not make a difference. Beautiful. They shot the man 100 times. It didn't make a difference. The man still had the same point of view.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow. Tim, that's in your hand up.
That's powerful, brother.
That is. I've never looked at it like that, though, to be honest.
Powerful.
This is a heavy topic for me. I'm trying to not, like really get emotional with this because like I've been on the other side of that
Wow.
spectrum where you get choked out or you getting, just treated badly, man. From prison all the way up, it's just now this camera has allowed people to see this a little bit more, but I've been seeing it in my whole life. One of a few things I wrote down, really like what Dr. Mario said, and I can't remember exactly what he was saying about in regards to the media, and the images that people get, and they're gonna go ahead and believe it's what is being said. See, that's the part that I kind of like hurts me the most. It's like people believe what they see, as if the word. See, people, to me, it's like the media can come out and say something and people will run all the way to the other side of the country with it and just start saying that. They don't do research. They act as if the word they don't read the word. Like if this is my world and I was the devil or something, would I use the media?
Yeah.
What about the images? Oh yeah. So when people hear these things, they run with them. They don't test them against the guys. They test their spirit. They don't do that. They don't do none of that. They don't do no research. They just believe what it is, and then a whole bunch of people get behind it and run with it. And then the minute you say, "Nah, I don't believe like that," or "This is what I said," then it's like people want to jump on you. But so the media to me is people need.
Hi guys. I don't know what, but hey, I hope you all are enjoying this thus far. So what are your thoughts on it? I'm sorry, but just reliving and reviewing it over again. Alfred, come join me. Really kind of brought back a lot of memories. So what are some of your takeaways, Al, from so far, Mr. Allen, from just watching a little bit of it?
Well, I feel that, we still have a long ways to go.
Yeah.
Even though it's been months since we received the George Floyd verdict. You look at the news and you see that there's no hurry to try to change things and put things in place. As a matter of fact, there are states that are working to suppress our votes,
right,
working to make it harder for American citizens to be able to cast their votes because they've seen how overwhelming the turnout was in the last election. They feel that if we don't do anything about it, it's not going to be fair for us. Well, what is fair is democracy in progress. Democracy in progress. People going out and casting their votes. So how do you feel the fact that there's a large turnout and people coming out to vote who they want in office because they don't agree with what's going on? Is unfair, is an unfair disadvantage for you. What's unfair is public lynching. That's what's unfair, a public lynching. And we have to all gather around the TV to find out if you have to pay for your public lynching. That's what's unfair, So that's why I feel that we have a long ways to go.
Yes, we do.
You're concerned about you're not being able to be voted back into office and don't have the empathy that a normal person would feel for a person being choked to death in public, and your fellow officers standing around to keep people from interfering in a public lynching. So, that's my opinion.
Well, and that's a pretty valid opinion, because I haven't seen a lot of change that's taking place, even with the George Floyd situation. Black men are still not being acknowledged. You still see the systemic racism happening today. And I would just hope that with the wake of everything that's happening, that people are starting to really not only look at it, but also speak out more against it. So, I really enjoyed that host segment of being a Black man in America Part 2. It was pretty emotional, pretty heated. I've learned, I even had a couple of takeaways. So that was something that I was like, someone had asked about the show, and I was like, you know what, we did play Part 1, so Part 2, why not? So this week we decided to play Part 2, and let's see. I guess we're gonna continue. Are we ready? I just kind of want to.
We're still working
a little break in there. If anyone would like to comment, or like or share our page, we certainly would appreciate that.
We do apologize for the technical difficulties.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I know one of the things that I think that at that time was the first time on Netflix, when they were talking about two complete strangers meeting or something like that. What was the title of that again?
Two Distant Strangers.
Two distant strangers, and I often think about that even now, because now that you kind of you're more aware of what you do, where you do it, and who's involved in it. So every event, whether it's just a simple trip to the store, to the library, to the swim pool, to the beach, whatever, you're all in the back of your mind, there is a sense of concern for our Black people. Yes, definitely with the men as well as the women. So it's always in the back of your mind. Could this be the day that I have this encounter with this disgruntled officer, or this officer that's actually racist, or whatever the case is? So you always think about that. So when I think about that, the short film, I do think about that, and I know that at that time Tim was pretty heated, and I know Mario was still. They were blasting heat, like it was like a trigger for them. So I can only imagine actually experiencing it if you still feel that same energy when you even just see it done to somebody else.
That's right. And when you're speaking of two distant strangers, you're talking about two individuals that really don't know anything about the other person, and normally when I encounter someone I don't know, I say good day, and they'll say good day. They have that bornness, politeness about themselves, that humanity that normally supposed to stand out. So now we're talking about when we're talking about two distant strangers in the movie, we're talking about two individuals, a police officer who's supposed to serve and protect, and we're talking about a regular citizen, the average Joe. It could also be a woman, and not just a man, but even women, because they fall victim to the unfairness that goes on in society today as well. But you're talking about an officer who is supposed to be trained about as to everything that could be expected, that he is supposed to come up against, or could be expected during an average day or an average shift. So he knows that, hey, you got different individuals you're going to encounter. This is how you do. You're supposed to what? You're supposed to keep the peace, kind of work down. Well, how do they say do that? Lower the stress in a situation you come encounter with somebody. You supposed to
de-escalate.
Yeah,
okay.
de-escalate
the situation
when
yes.
you come encounter with it. But instead, this American citizen, we'll call him, is going on about his average day, and his life is disrupted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without a cause, without a rhyme or reason, his life is just disrupted right away.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about something that's supposed to normally, so you know, in a I guess in a perfect world, this would be something that's so odd and unexpected and surprising to see an officer just pop off on just an average citizen, but it's the norm. It's the norm. We deal with this day in and day out, and thank God that we have cell phones now and media that records this, because you know it was nothing to see here back in the day. You know, move on, nothing to see here, and the average person has witnessed all-out murder on the street.
But they're trying. I'm not sure what city that they're trying to do that, where it's illegal for you to videotape an officer. You can be charged with disorderly conduct or interfering into, I forgot what they call that. That they're literally going to pass that law there. And I'm like, why would you not want to be videotaped if you're doing the right thing? I mean, everywhere you go, there's video everywhere you go, whether you go into the store, to the gas station, you're being recorded. It doesn't matter where you are. So you may say, okay, I can't record you, but there's so many other recordings that's happening that you have no jurisdiction over.
Right.
But I guess it's a way that they can throw it out of court if it's a law that you can't videotape an officer. I mean, come on now.
And see, that's the type of blatant, upfront, in your face, I don't care type of unfairness that's going on. As a matter of fact, the Justice Department has begun to take up cases on I think it's the 14 states that have decided to pass unfair voting rights. They're starting with Georgia. And the Justice Department, coming from the very highest, our Attorney General, and the Justice Department has decided to take up that because it's a civil. It violates the civil rights of, and
right.
they cut it short and dry. It violates the civil rights of Black people.
It really does. It's all about that. I mean, it's like I've never seen a people that use more energy in trying to get around doing the right thing. It's like, just think about if it's you. I think a lot of people will change their outlook on the things that other people's situations if they put themselves in that situation. Now, tell me now, what was you saying you would do or what they should do? Okay, then we just solved the problem. A lot of times people don't have empathy because they haven't gone through that and they can't relate to what you're talking about. But they would rather talk about you and judge you and say what you should be doing when they've never gone through that. When you've gone through what another person is going through, you're a little bit more sympathetic with what they're experiencing. So you wouldn't be so quick to say what you would do and, they did it wrong, or maybe they should have complied, whatever. So, I mean, I've just noticed that a lot of times people are not willing to change because they're not willing to see themselves as you, as a person that's going through it. They don't want to believe what you're going through unless it's them. And then when it's them, then all of a sudden it is a change of attitude.
Mm.
You know, because I know some people that did not understand the whole black mother concerned about her black son until they had children, and then now they get it. Now they're empathetic about now they're part of the movement.
Mm.
So yeah.
Wow, very, very good point. Very good point. And I might add that it's not, we need to close the gap between being distant strangers. It's not just with the justice with the justice situation, but also us as individuals, as American people. We need to close that gap. That would even apply with us. We're distant strangers, and we pass each other's every single day.
But are you saying distant strangers in terms of black and white, or just people in general?
Yes. Yes,
sometimes you can
in terms of black and white.
White, we are definitely distant strangers.
Right.
But can you be strangers with your own, with black people, with other black people? Sometimes you can really.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When we don't understand each other's, and there's still more killings in our own neighborhoods.
Yeah, so we're distant
more
strangers.
More so than what officers are doing.
Right.
You know, that breaks my heart.
Right, we're definitely
that breaks my heart. You know, you hide, you take the person's vehicle, and then you shoot them, or you come into the place, you're shooting.
Right.
It's, you know, it's
it's a lot of work to do. And bringing awareness is a good thing, but what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do? And we always talk about that. Even we talked about that on the actual platform. So let's go back, guys. We're going to go and we're going to finish watching this, and we'll come back to you. So keep watching. Thank you. There's. Guess not. So maybe we can fast forward to the part that it actually kind of
had the same point of view.
Wow. Wow. Tim, that's in your hand up.
That's powerful, brother.
That is. I never looked at it like that, though, to be honest.
Powerful.
Hey, this is a heavy topic for me. I'm trying to not, really get emotional with this, because I've been on the other side of that spectrum where you get choked out, or you getting, just treated badly, man. From prison all the way up, it's just now this camera has allowed people to see this a little bit more, but I've been seeing it in my whole life. One of a few things I wrote down, really like what Dr. Mario said, and I can't remember exactly what he was saying about in regards to the media, and the images that people get, and they're gonna go ahead and believe this what is being said. See, that's the part that I kind of like hurts me the most. It's like people believe what they see, as if the word. See, people, to me, it's like the media can come out and say something, and people will run all the way to the other side of the country with it and just start saying that. They don't do research. They act as if the word they don't read the word. Like if this is my world and I was the devil or something, would I use the media?
Yeah.
What about the images? Oh yeah. So when people hear these things, they run with them. They don't test them against the guys. They test their spirit. They don't do that. They don't do none of that. They don't do no research. They just believe what it is, and then a whole bunch of people get behind it and run with it. And then the minute you say, "Nah, I don't believe like that," or "This is what I say," then it's like people want to jump on you. But so the media, to me, is people need to do a little bit more research with the media, and in regards to like what Dr. Mario saying, people, you know, like when you hear some stuff, you know, maybe you need to just take a few moments and just look at it a different kind of way. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Do some research on it. How about, there's nothing wrong with YouTube looking at another point of view. Look at YouTube. Talk to other people. Why are you only looking at you only looking at one channel, Fox 6 News? Why don't you try to look at the opposite, CNN? Why don't you look at a bunch of them so that you can come up with your own thought about what you think it is instead of just looking at one view, a World Nightly News or something like that. And lastly, that was it. Yeah, and so yeah, that was it.
James.
Beautiful.
James.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Hi. So yeah, I thought so I again, I'm gonna come from probably a different lens than most people will, and I'm okay with standing alone in my thoughts. But I know I do sense like in the movie, it was from a different perspective. It was from the perspective of a person who feels threatened, and I'm not sure. I'm not by the police, and I'm not sure if that's an everyday experience for the mass number of African Americans that live in the country. I'm pretty sure it's a case for some, but I would say it probably would be a higher case for for those that are in the inner city. I can't say that every Black man has experienced what this young man experienced in the movie, and it came from a slighted perspective from that. And I don't know. It took me the wrong way. Now I get it. You know, there are racism, and there is racism, I should say. And I'm gonna say something, and you may or may not believe it, but I don't think racism will ever be gone, eradicated completely. I don't think so. Again, it's a spirit, right? So if it's a spirit, it's going to linger. Now, the Bible gives us, and I love what Mario said about, I see Sister Deborah. She says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right? And because it's not a person thing. And so when we take our eyes off of people, because that's what racism does. We got to understand, racism takes our eyes off of the agenda, which is a spiritual agenda, and then puts it back on a person or a people. And so we have to make sure that, because we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, it's a principality. And what does the devil like to do? And I'm just talking because that part of it came up. And what the enemy loves to do is he loves to divide. He divides and conquers. So he can divide us, one from white and Black, right? And then how else can he divide us? He can divide us internally, right? And so he divides us socially, internally, within our own community. Then he divides us economically. Then he divides us politically, right? And then he divides us. So there's so many ways that the Black community is divided that, yes, we fight more amongst each other about the solution versus trying to fight. And so I know the question came up a while ago, where is the leader in the Black community that's standing up to take on this cause and unite us around a force, which is what Dr. King kind of, that's what's one of the things that he did. Because if you go back, and then I'll just go back to the movie real quick. And so I felt like the movie was a slant. It gave us a slant. I don't feel that every Black man is dealing with that. Why? Because if I come through my lens, I haven't dealt with that every day. I've been in contact with police more than not. Yes, I've come across race police. Yes, I've had that problem. And so I know that it's a problem, but I don't know if it's as big of a problem as the movie made it.
Well, even if the movie did not it's a problem. Every day we have had killings, Black men dying. That's a problem. So I believe that what the movie depicts is what situations that has occurred. If you look at the end of it, all those different scenarios, he was selling cigarettes. He was sitting in his home and was killed. I mean, these are scenarios that actually happen to people.
But again, we, again, like I said last week, we must tell the truth about the whole matter. A lot of it, they just wasn't just sitting. There was a contact that they had with the police that the police were called on in some instances. With George, let's just say the most recent one, the last one that they put on there was the George Floyd case. And what they said was at the end of it was George Floyd was killed for going to the store, but he wasn't killed for going to the store. He was killed, but the police were called because he presented a counterfeit $20 bill. Now, I'm not saying that it was right for him to get killed. Trust me, I'm not saying that. The problem I'm saying is that the Black community has more contact with police because—
And the reason being, it's because of racism.
It's not because of racism. We have more
because that young man that was—
it's because we have more crime in our community.
The young man that was sitting in the car, he wasn't even a driver. He was the passenger. What ended up in the morgue.
Okay.
Explain those situations when you just walking down the street and you just look suspicious in your own neighborhood.
Okay.
And you're dead.
There's quite a few things.
It's a lot. You know, I mean, Mario had his hand up. I mean,
I'll try to be brief. I think that that it's okay for us to take a magnifying glass and actually put it on the problem. Rome wasn't built in a day. If a movie like this doesn't come out and it doesn't put its direct focus on the problem, we all know all cops are not like that, you know. But what I do know is the first time I was racially profiled, I was downtown Milwaukee. I was in their space. I was in Glendale, Wisconsin. I was in their space. But when I was on Center Street, or when I was on Burleigh, the cops just was there. They just chilling. You know, they even came by and kicked it with us and stuff like that. We knew them if they was gonna take somebody to jail or anything like that, they was gonna do it. But we knew we was gonna see them again. We just sat down. They wasn't killing us. They ain't killing us too much in our own neighborhoods. You got to look at what that movie was showing. Like when dude walked outside. Man, ain't nobody doing yoga standing out there on Center Street, going 47. I'm gonna tell you. And the same stuff that he looked at the cop and said, "Look at her. She over there doing yoga. Look at him. He over there. Oh, there's a couple kissing. Man, we ain't doing that out there." You know what I mean? He was in a neighborhood that the cop didn't want him to be in, and his demeanor proved it. That you don't belong here. Everything they showed that he didn't belong there. Now, if he had walked out a different color, he would have been absolutely fine. And the thing is the first time I encountered racism, Colette, I was 7 years old, and my neighbors built a 10-foot fence because we lived in New Berlin, and they didn't like the fact that blacks had moved in. And we say, okay, things are changing and all this type of stuff, and the city made them come cut it down to 8 foot because that's how much they had gone 2 feet over regulation because they didn't want to catch a glimpse of us. Second, you fast forward 28 years. I just moved into a very nice house with nothing but neighbors that don't look for me. It didn't take them but maybe 6 months and for the spring to come to plant 14 hedges. I counted. I recorded it the other day. They planted hedges all around the side of my house to make sure that they didn't have to see us. Things have not changed like that. You know what I mean? And so that's just where I am at it. I think that we need to shine the spotlight on the actual issue. We ain't got to dance around with different point of views or different, well, what did he do? What did he do? Well, what he did was he was a threat because of the color of his skin. And he did the same crime that they do more often. And when you look at the statistic of nature, you can look at Milwaukee and they can say 1,000 people were raped. You know what I mean? Or 1,000 people were killed or whatever you're looking at. And you look at the statistical value, they're killing each other too. They're killing people too. It ain't just us being violent or us being criminals. There's a systematic process of oppression starting at the school level that works us all the way up into the adult level. And these are children that are not educated. They don't have physical education. All they get to do is go sit down. They don't have budgets in the systems or anything. And they don't have the correct parental structure because all of their fathers are already in jail. So they being raised without, it's so many different dynamics that end up. But the bottom line is what makes us up You know what I mean? Not be a threat to individuals just because we're black. They got to be able to take the time to say, hey, look, let me feel this guy out. Let me see what's going on. Maybe it's a criminal. Okay, let me figure out how to digress. And that a 20-year cop knows where her stun gun or her taser is. Just stop. Come on, really? She knows where it is before she shoots this boy or before she shoots someone. They grab the wrong. You know where your gun at. I'm trying to tell you, whether you're doing wrong or right, you know where it's at. Wear one. If any of y'all carry, you know where your gun at. Bottom line.
Okay. Anybody have anything to say? Would like to add to that, Jesse? Oh, Tim. Okay.
Well, I disagree with what Dr. Mario was saying today, and just along the lines of my question would be to those who are listening. You know, how do we as Black people on different levels get together and really outside of a march, outside of, you know, which marches sort of do bring us together. They do, but you know, of course, at the marches we really a bit more rowdy, violent, these kinds of things. You know, we are trying to come to some type of point, you know, make a point about it. But outside of that, you know, how do we get to that? Like Pastor James said, he ain't really experienced that. You know what? So how do we get him and others or people who have not that seen that all the time and don't know what living, being trying to be reasonable minded about things? How do we all somehow get together and learn how to like brother Jesse said, come to a common goal? How do we do that? You know, that's the big thing, because I'm more disappointed and upset with my own Black people right now than I am with the white man, or the system, you know, because I feel like we so distant, we so this, and especially a Black man, the Black man got it so bad, and no disrespect against, you know, he just got a lot. He got, you know, dealing with, you know, he being separated from his home. You know, his significant other don't look at him less than. It's just a lot that go along with him if he ain't really doing. So he's trying to make himself look good or feel good, and of course, you know, he's trying to, you know, be a hero in the community by even tearing down the community by selling drugs or something like that. You know, so that's my thing. How do we get together? You know, we're on this together. We're all from different spectrums. How do we continue this conversation where it gets, you know, down and dirty, you know, and keeps it real, and everybody can share from their perspective so that we can all get to this common goal?
Jesse, what are your thoughts on what he's saying? What Tim is saying? How do we come to a common goal?
Then years back, they had like this State of the Black Union or something like that with the Rainbow Push Coalition, where they had like a guideline of what we want as a Black community. Because I'm thinking back about that whole campaign that they did, and I thought that it would have been something that we as Black people can get behind. We have a documentation of what exactly we need in the Black community, what we want the government to kind of see that we need as far as the education and the economic growth and things like that in our communities. And it kind of just fell apart. So I'm just hoping that, you know, if we do find a way to, you know, have an idea of what we need in our Black community, that we can have it documented down in a way that's more like a constitutional kind of thing, where, okay, this is what we need, this is what we stand for as Black people in America, and this is the demands that we want to live by. Not just being equal in America, but being able to just survive. Sorry, being able to just. Oh yeah, it's called the State of the Black Union. That was back in 2010. My wife just showed it to me. Okay. So yeah.
And also, Reverend Jesse Jackson was the founder of Rainbow Push.
Okay. Right. So If we can get to a point where we know as Black people this is what we need, and then we have a consensus, we can get behind it. We have a movement and a drive. I'm pretty sure we will get a lot of people to get behind it, and I'm pretty sure that if we really stick to it, we will actually build something in the Black community.
Okay, James, what is it that we need? Do you agree with Jesse and what Tim said? And we need to get together, be on the same page.
I do. I feel that we need to get together. I echo Brother Tim's his sentiments. Where we're divided, and so the first place I think we have to start is to find a common enemy, and it cannot be the police, and it cannot be white people. Like, we have bigger issues in our own community that's bigger than the white people and bigger than police. I think we need to focus again initially on our community, and I think we need to police our community. And I don't mean police by we have our own police department. No, I mean we need to police our community. Where we need to find and to check our Black community when it comes into wrong positions. We need to call out the homicides, right? The homicides that we are killing each other. Not one time, and this is my problem with the BLM, not one time have I heard anything about that young lady that was killed by gang violence in Chicago. Where was BLM? Like, we protest against cops, but we need to start protesting and policing our community first. We need to call our people into check. I was doing some research and I found out just in Milwaukee, there have been a lot of shootings, right? But 86 of here's what I wrote down. Black males from the ages of 18 to 29 have a higher chance of being shot without charges filed to the shooter at a number of 86%. Right now, this is Black on Black crime. 86% of the people that shoot other Black people in our community walk away free. We cannot be excited about that. That becomes the epic problem in our community. We have to first police ourselves. When we start caring about ourselves, this is why we become a threat to other people. When we start caring about ourselves as a Black community, then other people will start to care about us. You know that it's crazy. And so that's where I think that we often need to get together. We need to be truthful about the situations that are happening in our community, then begin to police our community and make sure that we create change in our whatever is needed. I mean, it's a long laundry list, and it's a daunting task because there's various different levels. Like Brother Tim said, there's various different levels of where our community is at, but we have to start somewhere, even if it's that, okay, we're going to curb crime in our community. That every person that's killed, we're going to go and we're going to pick it and we're going to make sure justice comes. I don't know what it is exactly, but we have to target and focus and say we got to come together. We got to come together.
Okay. I think that we really covered a lot, and this just always feels as if we don't have enough time to really dig into it. It's so much. It's so much to unpack. And I agree. We do need to go. We need to police our own community. That's the reason why we don't need them doing what they're doing, because they're adding on top of what we've already dealing with.
Yeah, we are our brother's keepers. We
are, and but it still doesn't eliminate the fact that 99 times he tried to get home, he never got home. Then we felt like, when I watched the movie, I said, why don't he just stay home? And he tried to staying home. And what happened? They come in. Okay. And then so his girlfriend said, well, try talking to him. He talked to him. And at the end, what did he do? Still killed him. And then so she said, at this point, it's just simply because I'm Black. I'm already, like Dr. Mario said, because I'm Black, I'm already in the negative. I'm already the victim. I'm already going to be singled out. So even what you're saying, and I totally agree, we do need to police our own people, but we still Black. At the end of the day, when we get finished policing our people and cleaning everything up, we still Black in America. Our very existence is a problem. How do you change the core of that? Because you ain't gonna like turn white unless you bleach your skin, and you still gonna be black. So even when we do all the things that you say we need to do, which we do need to do, we still live in America that is a racist people that have an issue when you don't look like them.
I just want to say something real quick to that, and I'll see Brother Tim. I think we have to understand that's going to always be there, right? We live in a country where racism is a thing that is taught. It's a thing that's taught. It's taught from birth. Racism is a learned behavior, and so we have to. We can't be focused on what they're doing until we focus more on what we're doing. And when we can change our narrative, it doesn't matter what their narrative is. You get what I'm saying? And we focus too much on their narrative and how they feel about us. And God tells me that he tells me that I am above and not beneath. I don't have to listen to people's other opinion about me. Now, if we come down to a personal level, right? I don't set my goals based on how people around me feel about me. We have to begin to build pride in our community, pride in our heritage, pride in our people, pride in our Black man's lives. We have to know that our lives matter. Mm-hmm. We have to know that. And before we can take it to the white man and stick it to them, we have to stick it to us.
Okay, and go to the slide. Since you mentioned Black Lives Matter, let's be clear. We said Black Lives Matter. We never said only Black Lives Matter. That was the media. In truth, we know that all lives matter. Okay, but right now we need to help change this. Now we need your help with Black Lives Matter, for Black lives are in danger. And do you feel like you are in danger? Do any of you all feel like you're in danger?
I definitely feel like me and my children are in danger. I know they are. You know, I sit and teach my children how to deal with the police. I make sure. Hey, I take time with my young children. I got 6 sons. You know how scary it is to know that they're out driving, a few of them, or that they're, you know, it's happening. Right. You know, I've been in positions. Something I even told you about, Colette. You know, with my own children, there's things that happen where they've got to learn how to digress when they're dealing with. There needs to be training and things or something like that that'll happen. I asked my sons, because I watched this movie with my sons, and I asked my sons, I said, why do you think they kept killing him? One of my sons, Jacob, he said that they killed him because they're racist. Caleb said they killed him because they hate him. I said, why do they hate him? He said, because of his skin color. That's my 10 and 9-year-olds opinion, you know? Right. And then I asked my older son, I said, well, what do you think? Why do you think that they did it? He says, just simply because he's Black. And
that's so hurtful. I mean, I had a situation with my 11-year-old, had a conversation with my colleague about my son. And the first thing he said, well, he was just so aggressive. I said, excuse me, what does that mean? Well, I mean, he's talking loud.
Yeah, you're handled as
That's aggressive because he talks loud. Did you realize his mama talk loud? You know what I mean?
And you can't have a conversation with somebody you pay taxes for. I can't have a conversation like, hey, officer, what did I do wrong?
Right.
You know what I mean? Come on. Like, everybody ain't a threat just because you pulled them over. The guy told me the other day, he said, I pulled you over because your windshield was cracked. I said, are you sure you were able to see that from 100 feet away? Because when I bought the car last week, I got in it after walking around and inspecting it and everything. I got in and drove away. It wasn't until I was on the way home that I even knew it had a crack in the window. Yet you spotted it from 100 feet away and used it as grounds to pull over my registered licensed vehicle with my insured Black self. Leave me alone. Why are you bothering me? What for? I don't got no drugs in the car. And the thing about this thing that got me the most is this boy is a graphic designer with a wad of money in his pocket. That's me. I've been that ever since I was 18. You know what I mean? Having some money, and I'm a graphic designer. James is a graphic designer. He understands. He make money. The boy ain't selling drugs. He wasn't doing nothing but coming out in a nice neighborhood because he's in a career that starts off at $50 an hour. Come on, he educated himself on the same platform that everybody else that makes the world go round with all the media and stuff like that do. And he's a threat for what? That dude wasn't a threat, not whatsoever. I know I've seen people as threats. He wasn't no threat. We have a right to have some amount of fear, because unless the government does something about it, or we do something about it, or whoever gonna do something about it, God do something about it, I have no idea. You know what I mean? Who gonna do something about it, or what direction? All I know how to do is just pray and cover my own, cover who all my prayers extend to, and try not to live in fear, because we don't operate in the spirit of fear, but it's still a real emotion. You know, Brother Alpha, we understand. It's still a real emotion. We feel fear. Bottom line.
Okay.
Me, you know.
So we're ending this segment. Thank you, Mario, for sharing that. That was pretty emotional. I can feel that because I have an 18-year-old and he's 6'5", and I am very concerned because even though to us he's a kid, to them he's a threat. So I teach my children and ask God to cover them, because it's scary out there. So anybody, if you have any closing remarks, just take 1 minute to say what you would like to share with us, and then we'll close it out on that. Who would like to start? I know Mario, you were good. Oh, Tim got to raise his hand. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share on today. Pastor James had really, said a lot, when he was speaking lastly, on what he said about, changing the narrative. We don't care what they talking about. Guess what? We changed the narrative. I'm a living witness to that. I went to prison. People thought I wasn't gonna do this, do that. I ain't listen to them. If I would have had to believe them, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. And believe me, I'm straight. So the thing is, I don't care what people say and what they talking about. I'm gonna change the narrative. Where I live, and nothing but white folk. But let me tell you something. I'll make them respect who I am. You see what I'm saying? It ain't about what they thought, what they think I am. And I don't do, of course, I'm not violating any laws or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, once we change the narrative, they're going to respect us, or they're going to bow down to us. In other words, we don't care about if they don't. That's fine. We still doing our thing. We don't care about what they talking about. So I just want to say that lastly, because and black men really need to see that, because a lot of times when we go to these interviews, these job interviews, they say, hey, that's the reason why I got my own business today, because I started going on the job interviews. Every time I went to a job interview, they wanted me to repeat what I did. It was like living it all over again. They already knew they was going to tell me no, So thing is, we have to be assured in ourselves, like brother was saying about the word, that God do that for us. We believe in God. We set apart people. So all right, that's kind of what.
Thank you, Tim. That was great. Thank you, Tim. Jesse.
Oh yeah, I'm going next. A pleasure speaking again today. I guess one of the things I want to say before I go is I think people are afraid of what they don't understand. And I think it's up to us as Black people to kind of go out there and show who we are as people. They're afraid of, and that which makes us even more of a threat to them in their eyes. So I don't want to bring up a whole different topic, but my best friend came to this country. She was from Korea. Her image of Black people was she was afraid of them. And then upon meeting me when she came to this country, her whole perspective of Black people changed because of how I interacted with her. So if we can get out there, get out of our neighborhoods and get out there and just meet with people and showing that we're people too, then perhaps we can start changing the narrative of what they think about who we are as a people.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jesse. And now, okay, James.
Why you always do me like that? You wrong.
I don't know.
Like, all right, here you go, James.
Okay,
You
here we
last
go.
but not
Last
least.
but not least.
Come on here. I'll just say this. I appreciate every last one of these young men that's on the stage here. And also AJ, he didn't get a chance to come on, but I know his perspective really matters. And I just thank God for this opportunity to have this conversation with you fellas. And hopefully we can continue the conversation, either whether it be online or offline. I will say this, I am not afraid as a black man of the police. My fear as a black man is other black men. And that's just where I'm at. And it's again, that's just my fear. I grew up in Brown Deer, right? Raised and born in Brown Deer. And I was around racism all my life. So I'm not saying that Brown Deer was racist, but there was racism amongst the police department. There was all type of stuff going on in Brown Deer. So that's where I grew up. So I knew, and I had firsthand encounters with white police that didn't like you, and you don't belong in this neighborhood. My parents built a house in Brown Deer, right? So we were the first to build the house, first black couple or first black family to build a house in that subdivision. So, I mean, we encountered, and again, because of my diversity of my neighborhood, I was also able to understand and how to go and be about and handle myself amongst a vast community of people. I can hang out with some Asian people. I can hang out with Native American people. I can hang out with anybody. I can love on them and I can hang out with them. My thing is that if you're a racist, just tell me. I know how to handle you. I won't talk to you. I just want you to tell me you're a racist because I can deal with you. And so I think a lot of what we have to do in 1 minute or less is we have to be truthful about what's going on, not only in our community, about our racism, about the stuff that's going on in us, and be truthful about it, and then have that conversation, police our community, and then and start to develop a dialogue, because what I love what Pastor Mario said about him teaching his son being a graphic designer and giving them skills and trades. I love what Pastor Tim said, or I keep calling you Pastor Tim, man, maybe that's something on your life, but I keep saying, Brother Tim, he's working with the men, but also he had to create a job. We are not defined by our surroundings. We define what our surroundings think about us. And so we have to make sure that we keep that in mind.
Thank you so much. Oh, I enjoyed this segment, guys, and it's emotional. I feel the emotions. I mean, I'm not a guy, but women go through things as well. But I do have sons, and that I'm concerned, and I just pray God's protection of them. But this was really powerful, and I hope you guys are so open to maybe down the road we can revisit, and hopefully things have changed, and you all can share your perspective once again. Hopefully it's something come of this. That's my desire. And thank you all for coming on today. I really appreciate everybody being so willing and openly to share their perspective of the short film. I love this.
Absolutely. If you didn't see the film, you can catch that film on Netflix. It's called Two Distant Strangers. You can see it on Netflix.
Okay, so we're going to close out today.
All right.
Okay, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this. I mean, it's
beautiful. It was beautiful.
Man, it's I still feel that energy, man. It's amazing.
Yes. It looks like a battle on many fronts, distant strangers. We're looking to close that gap between the justice system, the police, with our white counterparts, and not just with our white counterparts, last but not least, with our own selves. We're looking to close that distance, right, so we get to a point where we're not distant strangers anymore. Mm-hmm. Martin Luther King, he was assassinated in 1968. I was 8 years old. And the dream still goes on. His dream still live, that we shall overcome in so many ways. He might have died, but his dream moves on, and it moves in us, inside of us. We can speak up. We can be that Martin Luther King, that nonviolent, that person that votes, that person that moves to get educated, and that person that reaches out no matter what and try to make a difference. So it's really up to us.
Yes, it is.
We can be distant strangers, or we can be one nation under God.
All right. So this is another segment of Restoring the Brokenness. I hope that you guys would like and share our page, tell other people about Restoring the Brokenness. We are just here to try to encourage and really inform as well. And I guess that's it. I enjoyed it. I feel like I felt like the day that we actually had those young men on our platform, like that word, everything that they shared was so powerful, and it still stands today. So once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us on today, and we're going to give our closing remarks, and we will see you on next week.
Well, special thanks to all our viewers, followers, and supporters of Restoring the Brokenness Group. Special thanks to our tech person, James Buford, and also Alfred Allen Jr. Please remember and like and share our page. Also, you can email us at restoringthebrokenness@gmail.com. Until next week, please be whole, be healed, and be at peace.
Till next time. Goodbye, everybody. Take care.